Okay, I think everybody now has a pretty good idea of how to add content into a course management system. And I want to reiterate that it doesn't really matter Blackboard, Moodle, Hakai, any of these course management systems. Essentially, you're adding resources, activities, and assessments. They're just laid out in a slightly different way. The thing I want to address in this second module is the interrelationship, the importance of really pre-planning how your resources, your lectures, your videos, your websites, how those help the student in accomplishing the goals and objectives of what you're trying to teach them, whatever that might be. So a lot of good thought has to go into that. You don't just throw content in there. You want to think about how the content interrelates. How does the forum relate to the assignment? Because essentially, uh, the forum is your classroom. Okay, Blackboard, Moodle, the forum is your classroom. That's where the action is. That's where there's a dialogue. That's where you can share work. You can give feedback, get the students involved in giving constructive feedback to one another. But that's really, and you can name it anything you want. I call it the art gallery in my art course. I call it the photo gallery in my photo courses. You can call it works in progress. Call it whatever you want, but it's really your classroom. When you're going to ask the students to submit an assignment, the advanced uploading of files, that's the one you want to use. And that really is the end result of a module. So during the week, you'd have them posting to the forum. And once you problem solve whatever it might be, sports photographs, lighting, product photography, whatever that might be, you're working through issues with the images, talk about cropping, talk about lighting, composition, you're working with that in the forum. And then when you want the student to submit the final image or images for grading, you use the advanced uploading of files, because that's where they can submit multiple files and you can give them a grade. Okay, so those are really the two key activities: forum and advanced uploading of files. And of course, you could tie it up really nice with a quiz, whether it be on shutter speed, whether it be on camera techniques, or darkroom principles, or digital theory, whatever it might be. A quiz is always nice to tie everything together. Okay, as far as the resources are concerned, specifically when you're going to add videos, and remember what I talked about in the last class in Illuminate, you've got to have that HTML toggle activated, and you've got to go to YouTube and grab your HTML embedding code. And if you remember, you use the old embedding code, not the new embedding code, because the new embedding code no longer plays nice with Moodle or Blackboard. But luckily, we can still get that old code. If you're going to take your students to a website, you would use link to a file or a website. If you're going to upload a Word document or a PDF or a PowerPoint, you would use link to a file. Okay, so those really are the key resources you're going to use: link to a file, compose a web page, adding videos. Also, you can take and create your own lecture with pictures, videos, that type of thing in Compose a Web Page. So, for example, what I have in my Action Sports Photography module, and remember, each block, each module, it's just one lesson. Just one lesson. So what do I have? I've got a photo gallery where students are to submit works in progress, And once we problem solve those images and find the very best images that they've been shooting at the baseball game, the soccer game, the rugby game, working with panning techniques and blur action techniques, then once we problem solve that, then the students would submit those final images. And here I say, after posting a minimum of 8 sports images to the photo gallery and incorporating the feedback into your image selection, please submit your 2 best. And I give them the parameters of 8 by 10, 72 dpi. So, I might be asking the students to crop the image more. I might ask them to level it in Photoshop. I might ask them to go back out if they didn't, come back with any really strong images. So that's where we kind of problem solve that. And then, so those are the activities. And the resources, I give them a website that takes them to 8 tips for taking sports photos like a pro. And again, I went through and I found what I thought were the very best websites and the very best videos. I didn't just grab whatever I saw first. I looked through them, I evaluated them, I said, yes, that's the one that truly hits home as far as what I want, those skill sets that I want them to learn. And I have an action photography quiz. So I tie it all together. In the photo gallery, we can share work. I can give them feedback. Students can give each other feedback. Then, before they go out, they can look at sports photography tips. They can look at the videos. Then they submit the 2 images for grading, and they take the quiz, and we tied it all together. I can find out, did they learn something? And I assess their work, not only by looking at their images, but also did they understand and did they comprehend the terminology in the quiz. So hopefully this is making sense to you as far as interrelating those resources, those activities, those assessments, because once we get a really good handle on the technical, we've got to move forward and start really thinking about our teaching style, how we teach in the classroom, in the lab, in the studio, and then translating that teaching style to the online environment. We're all going to do it a little different. We've got this new tool, and we just have to change the way we teach in the online environment. We can still be who we are. We can still have our own personality, but we've got to come up with new ways to translate that in the online environment using a course management system. Okay, so where we're going to be moving is into creating our own resources, a podcast, a screen video, a video. We'll be doing that next week. And then I really want to be honing in the last 2 sessions. I want to hit home with the teaching part, the methodology, the actual best practices for teaching online. Because the technical part, you can learn pretty quickly, whether it be Blackboard, whether it be Moodle, whatever you're using, you can learn that pretty quick. But the teaching part, you've got to go out there, get baptized in fire. You've just got to go out and start doing it, because you can take a workshop and you can hear about those best practices, but until you're teaching and you say to yourself, that kind of didn't work, or I'm going to change the way I did that. That's how I did it over the past 12 years, learning from my mistakes and moving forward and adapting and kind of, going with the flow, so to speak. So that's where we're going, and hopefully this little video will help you kind of fine-tune and finish up your module. And of course, if you want to make more modules, we can talk about that next week. Okay, so good luck, and I'm looking forward to the next class to talk about the creating your own rich media, talk about podcasting, screencasting, and video production. Okay, so that's where we're going.